In these problems, we're going to work with unit fractions to do a conversion that takes more than one unit fraction. So starting with 2 3/4 days, if I want to change that to hours, I would first make this into an improper fraction. So that's going to give me 11/4, and the unit days stays on the top. To convert that to hours, I have days down here, hours on top, and it takes 24 hours to make 1 day. I can reduce my fraction and remove that unit. So my final answer comes out to be 66 hours. To convert inches to yards, I'm going to need to use 2 unit fractions. Because if you look on our chart here, we have a calculation to get from inches to feet and from feet to yards, but we don't have one that goes directly from inches to yards. If you happen to know what that is, you're welcome to use it. But I'm going to show you the way that you can get the answer just by using the conversions that they give you on this chart. So my first step, as always, is to write my initial unit over 1. And then in this case, I'm going to need 2 unit fractions. The first one will get rid of the inches, converting it to feet. And the second one will get rid of the feet, converting them to yards. So since 1 foot is the equivalent of 12 inches, and 1 yard is the equivalent of 3 feet, those are the 2 unit fractions I want to use. My inches cancel out, the feet cancel out, and I'm left with the fraction 84 over 36, which, when I divide it on my calculator, looks like there is a common factor of 12 that I can take out of both of these. I'm going to be left with 7/3. 7 is all that's left on the top, 3 on the bottom, yards. But that's kind of a bizarre way to explain yards, so you would probably convert that into a mixed number, leaving your final answer as 2 1/3 yards. Now 2 1/3 yards is the equivalent of 2 yards 1 foot, but because this problem specifically asks that our answers be in yards, I'm going to leave it as a fraction. You'll notice I didn't convert it to a decimal, and the reason for that is that there is not a decimal representation of 1/3 that expresses the entire value, because 1 divided by 3 is those 3's that repeat forever. So while it's okay to turn the one before, these two, the gallons and the tons, into decimals, you would want to leave this one as a fraction, because that 1/3 can't be expressed completely in a decimal form. Our final problem on this page has us going from days to seconds. So I start with 2 days, then I'm going to change days into hours, and then change hours into minutes. And then my last final conversion will be to get rid of the minutes and change the minutes into seconds. So you can see here that days will cancel out, hours will cancel out, minutes will cancel out, and I will be left with seconds. So all I need now are the values that make these unit fractions. So there are 24 hours in 1 day, and 60 minutes in 1 hour, and 60 seconds in 1 minute. Pulling my calculator out over here, 2 times 24 times 60 times 60 gives me a total of 172,800 seconds in a 2-day period. That's a lot of seconds.